Question 1. Through the lens of modern cybersecurity, is Patel and its consultant is tasked with auditing a company's e-commerce platform after suspicious login attempts from multiple global IP addresses. The system uses HTTP forms with its SSL, relies on weak session IDs, and has no multi-factor authentication (MFA). Given the need to protect both user data and transaction integrity, what should Isa Patel recommend as the first mitigation step to prevent credential interception? A. Implement SAELS encryption for all authentication and transaction pages. B. Configure the firewall to block all non-local IP addresses. C. Repair HTTP with ATP for secure credential transfer. D. Require users to reset passwords monthly without other changes. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. SAELS encrypts traffic, preventing man-in-the-middle attacks during login. Blocking non-local IPs. B. May hinder legitimate users and does not stop interception. FTP. C. Is unrelated to browser-based authentication security. Password resets. D. Without encryption still allow interception. OWASP and ISO 27001 recommend securing authentication with ATESET, a foundational step. Question 2. In the modern context of web communication, which protocol is primarily responsible for translating human-readable domain names into IP addresses to facilitate browser requests? A. TCP, ENS, HE, IMAP. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. ENS resolves domain names to IP addresses, enabling proper routing. TCP/A handles reliable transport but not name resolution. HETC is an application layer protocol for content transfer. IMAP. D is for email retrieval. ERFC 10, 34, and 35 defines ENS, making it essential for Internet infrastructure. Question 3. Considering the evidence, Esther Ortega, a freelance web developer, downloads images from the stock photography site's free trial and uses them on client's commercial site without purchasing license. Later, the client receives copyright infringement notice demanding payment. Which principle of intellectual property law is most directly violated? A. Fair use doctrine allows this because it was for client site. B. Public domain use covers these images automatically. C. Copyright protection applies regardless of intent or payment status. D. Digital Millennium Copyright Act (DEA) exempts developers from liability. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Copyright applies automatically to original works. The licensing terms govern lawful use. Fair use A is narrow and usually excludes commercial purposes. Public domain. B applies only if rights have expired or been waived. D doesn't provide blanket exemptions. U.S. Title 17 and WIPO guidelines enforce this principle. Question 4. By evaluating different network models, what is the primary advantage of the client-server model over a peer-to-peer configuration in an enterprise environment? A. It eliminates the need for data backups. B. It provides centralized control and resource management. C. It ensures all devices have equal administrative rights. D. It avoids the need for network security protocols. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Client-server models centralize management, enabling better control over resources and security. A is false. Backups are still required. C describes PP networks. D is incorrect because security protocols remain necessary. This is supported by NIST SB 800114 and ITIL service management frameworks. Question 5. Given the circumstances, Chang is leading a web redesign project for a non-profit with tight deadlines and multiple stakeholders. A major scope change is requested mid-project, adding complex e-commerce features. Which project management approach best helps her handle this without derailing the schedule? A. Ignore the request until after project completion. B. Use change control processes to evaluate impact before approval. C. Immediately integrate changes without documentation. D. Delegate change implementation to junior staff without review. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Change control evaluates schedule, cost, and risk before approval per PMBOK guidelines. Ignoring A. Damages client relations. Implementing changes without assessment. C. D. Risks delays and quality issues. ISO 21500 and PMI standards emphasize structured change management. Question 6. The core principles of secure email communication dictate that which protocol is primarily used to send emails from a client to a server. They POP B, SAE, LHE, Answer. Correct answer B. Explanation. SAP Simple Mail Transfer Protocol sends outbound mail. POP A retrieves MHET. C is for web content and FTP. D is for file transfer. RFC 5321 governs SAP standards. Question 7. During the process of building an online booking system, admin needs to store customer names, emails, and booking dates in a way that supports fast searches and updates. Which database concept ensures each record can be uniquely identified for accuracy? A. Primary key. B. Foreign key. C. Index. D. View. Answer. Correct answer A. Explanation. A primary key uniquely identifies each record. Foreign keys. B. Maintain relationships but don't ensure uniqueness in single table. Indexes. C. Speed lookups but don't enforce uniqueness unless specified. Views. D. Are virtual tables. Answer. SQL 92 defines primary key requirements. Question 8. From a practical standpoint, what is the most significant reason to ensure sufficient color contrast between text and background on a website? A. To comply with policy content accessibility guidelines (BWAG). B. To reduce bandwidth usage. C. To improve server response time. D. To prevent search engine indexing errors. Answer. Correct answer A. Explanation. W requires adequate contrast for accessibility, benefiting visually impaired users. Bandwidth. B and server speed. C are unrelated. Search indexing. D isn't affected by color contrast. WEGA 2.1 specifies minimum contrast ratios. Question 9. While examining hosting options, Rivera considers running her own web server versus using a cloud hosting provider. She has limited its staff but expects high uptime requirements and sudden traffic spikes. Which is the most strategic choice? A. Self-hosting with in-house servers for maximum control. B. Cloud hosting with scalable resources and managed services. C. Renting a static IP and hosting from her personal laptop. D. Using a free hosting service without SA guarantees. Answer. Correct answer B. Explanation. Cloud hosting offers scalability, uptime guarantees, and reduced admin burden. Ideal for limited staff. Self-hosting demands extensive maintenance. Hosting on laptop. C is insecure and reliable. Free hosting. D lacks business-grade SLAs. This aligns with idle capacity and availability management. Question 10. Throughout the course of troubleshooting, which browser feature allows users to view the HTTP requests and responses exchanged between the client and server? A. Bookmarks Manager. B. Developer Tools Network tab. C. Cookie Settings page. D. History panel. Answer. Correct answer B. Explanation. Developer Tools Network tab shows detailed HTTPS changes. Bookmarks. A. Store ELs. Cookie Settings. C. Control stored cookies. History. D. Lists visited pages without technical DWCN. Browser vendor documentation outline. Developer tools usage for debugging. Question 11. Given the circumstances, Mr. Kim notices frequent phishing attacks targeting his company's employees through emails with suspicious links. What is the most effective immediate step to reduce risk? A. Train employees to recognize phishing emails. B. Disable email accounts temporarily. C. Block all external email traffic. D. Require users to change passwords daily. Answer. Correct answer A. Explanation. Employee awareness training is key to prevent phishing success, supported by NIST SB 80050. Blocking email. C. Disrupts business. Password changes. D. Won't prevent clicking malicious links. Question 12. From the perspective of TCP/IP, what is the primary function of TCP? A. Assign IP addresses. B. Ensure reliable data transmission. C. Translate domain names. D. Encrypt data packets. Answer. Correct answer B. Explanation. ECP ensures reliable ordered delivery. IP assigns addresses. A. DNS translates names. C. Encryption is separate. Question 13. In light of recent developments, is Lopez needs to create a responsive page that adjusts layout for mobile users. Which HTML element best structures this adaptive design? B, C, D. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. The viewport meta tag controls scaling on devices essential for responsiveness and are structural but not adaptive. Embeds external content. Question 14. Within the framework of digital content creation, which practice violates copyright laws? A. Using royalty-free images with attribution. B. Copying another site's source code without permission. C. Linking to external resources. D. Creating original content inspired by others. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Unauthorized code copying breaches copyright. Attribution and linking. C. Illegal. Inspiration. D. Is allowed if original. Question 15. While examining database integrity, ISTA Silver wants to prevent duplicate customer email entries. Which database constraint should he implement? A. Foreign key. B. Unique constraint. C. Check constraint. D. Default value. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Unique constraints enforce distinct values, preventing duplicates. Foreign keys manage relationships. Checks validate data format. Defaults set initial values. Question 16. Across different scenarios, what role does a browser cache play? A. Stores user passwords permanently. B. Saves web resources to speed page loads. C. Blocks pop-up windows. D. Manages cookies. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Cache temporarily stores files to reduce load time. Passwords, they, and cookies, D, are separate features. Question 17. Taking into account scalability and cost is Dyer's debates between dedicated and shared hosting. What is the main advantage of shared hosting for startups? A. Full server control. B. Lower cost and maintenance. C. Unlimited resources. D. Guaranteed dedicated bandwidth. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Shared hosting is affordable and managed by the provider. Dedicated hosting offers control but costs more. Question 18. For many years, which factor primarily influences a web page ranking in search engine results? A. Keyword stuffing. B. Relevant quality backlinks. C. Number of images. D. Page background color. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Quality backlink signal authority. Keyword stuffing A is penalized. Images C and colors D don't affect rankings. Question 19. During the process of setting up secure email, Mr. Bennett wants to ensure emails are encrypted end-to-end. Which technology should he implement? A. SALS only. B. BGP or SMIME encryption. C. SAP without encryption. D. POP with authentication. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. PGP and SMIME encrypt email content enter SALSA secures transmission only. SAP. C. And POP. D. Handles sending and retrieval but don't encrypt content by default. Question 20. From a practical standpoint, which design principle improves user experience by guiding attention through a web page? A. Consistent typography. B. Visual hierarchy. C. Use of white space only. D. Random color schemes. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Visual hierarchy organizes content to focus user attention logically. Typography. A. Supports this. White space. C. Helps but alone isn't enough. But random colors. D. Reduce usability. Question 21. Given the circumstances, is Evans struggles with unstable Wi in her office due to interference from nearby devices. What is the best solution to improve connection stability? A. Change the white channel to a less congested one. B. Increase the router's transmission power indefinitely. C. Deblubber encryption to reduce overhead. D. Replace all devices with wired connections only. Answer. Correct answer A. Explanation. Changing channels avoids interference. Increasing power B. Can cause more interference. Déséquilibre C. Weakens security. Why connections D. Are impractical for mobility. Question 22. In terms of internet infrastructure, what device directs traffic between different networks? A. Switch. B. Router. C. Modem. D. Firewall. Answer. Correct answer B. Explanation. Routers forward packets between networks. Switches connect devices within a network. Modems connect to ISP. Firewalls filter traffic. Question 23. When analyzing data privacy, Mr. Taylor wants to ensure users control which personal data is shared via a web form. What should be implemented? A. Mandatory data fields without explanation. B. Clear consent checkboxes with privacy notices. C. Automatic data sharing without user input. D. Hidden form fields collecting extra info. Answer. Correct answer B. Explanation. Consent and transparency comply with GDPR and similar laws. Mandatory fields A and hidden data D violate privacy. Automatic sharing C is unethical. Question 24. Across different scenarios, which HTML input type improves accessibility for users entering email addresses? A. Text. B. Email. C. Password. D. Number. Answer. Correct answer B. Explanation. The email type triggers validation and specialized keyboards on mobile, improving user experience and data accuracy. Question 25. Under the assumption that a company reuses code snippets found online without checking licenses, what risk does it face? A. Improved software quality. B. Legal copyright infringement claims. C. Faster project completion with no consequences. D. Guaranteed open source compliance. Answer. Correct answer B. Explanation. Using unlicensed code risks legal penalties. Proper license review is essential to avoid infringement. Question 26. Considering the evidence, which element is used to embed multimedia content directly in HTML? A, B, C, D, all of the above. Answer. Correct answer D. Explanation. HTML supports multimedia icon and tags for diverse content types. Question 27. When faced with limited hardware, Mr. Singh wants to run multiple OS instances on one physical server. Which technology should he use? A. Virtual machines. B. Cloud storage. C. Content delivery networks. D. Web browsers. Answer. Correct answer A. Explanation. Virtual machines enable multiple OS on one host, maximizing hardware use. Others are unrelated to OS management. Question 28. The core principles of open source software include A. Source code availability and community collaboration. B. Closed development and licensing fees. C. Exclusive vendor control. D. Proprietary licensing only. Answer. Correct answer A. Explanation. Open source promotes transparency and collaboration, unlike proprietary models. Question 29. From multiple perspectives, is Graham wants her website to appear higher in search results. Besides quality content, what practice should she avoid? A. Keyword stuffing. B. Responsive design. C. Fast loading pages. D. Proper metadata use. Answer. Correct answer A. Explanation. Keyword stuffing is penalized by search engines. The others improve SEO. Question 30. In summary of client operating systems, what function manages hardware resources like CPU and memory? A. File system. B. Kernel. C. User interface. D. Application layer. Answer. Correct answer B. Explanation. The kernel controls hardware and system resources, enabling software operation.